everybody, today I've got a layout for you, and this was a really quick one. It only took me 17 minutes to get this done. This is a photos of my mom and my sister from one of my nephew's weddings, and I really liked just the photos of them together, just having a good time. So I'm going to use this little polka dot paper here from Cartabella Rustic Elegance. It's the back of the 4x6 journaling card paper, and I'm going to mount these two photos on it, but there's some distracting elements in that photo to the right, so I just cut that off of there, made it a little bit smaller. It's not hugely smaller, but it is a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to mount that on that really beautiful wood grain and floral paper, and that also is from Cartabella Rustic Elegance. It's the wood plank floral, which makes sense because it is a wood plank floral. And what I'm doing here is I'm just positioning that so I can see some of the polka dots, because if I had just mounted it the way it was, I wouldn't have seen any of the polka dots because the photos would have covered them up, and you wouldn't have gotten the dark peachy color in there. You would have only seen the light. There's a little bit of almost a chicken wire design in the back of this. So that's why I'm being a little particular about how I'm mounting these photos. And those are, you know, tiny little details that your eye can see and recognize. I just think it's better that I'm bringing in some of the dark peachy color, and you'll see why in a little bit. I'm going to use more of that as I work through this process. So this layout was created as part of Victoria Marie Facebook group online crop that took place in October. I don't remember whose challenge this was. I'm sorry, I forgot to write it down, but the challenge was to use journaling cards on a layout. And I actually ended up using 4 journaling cards, one kind of as is in a 3x4 version, and then I changed up the other ones at least a little bit. And you'll see how I do that right now. So I'm kind of playing with some of these journaling cards, and they all are from, or they're cut aparts really, they're all from the My Mind's Eye On Trend Awesome paper, which is the cut apart paper. Now I like the gem one, the Yora gem, but it's too many words in the same colors, I guess, or something, or too distracting because all of those gems are on there. And I really like kind of the focus on the florals in the bottom. Now you can see I just changed that just a little bit. I cut that, the top down on that Today is the Best card, to kind of give it just to make it a little bit shorter so it looks less like a card, and I don't know, it made it just a little bit shorter. It seemed to fit better that it wasn't so tall. And now I'm taking another one of those cut aparts, and I'm going to actually fussy cut out the heart from that. I could have used it as is, but I decided I wanted to get another card on this page so that I could use 4 of them. And this worked out really, really well that I cut this element. I'm making those cards work for me instead of the other way around, which is a really nice thing to do with your embellishments. So I put that heart there, but it feels like a stepping, like steps almost, that the Today card was taller, then you got the step of the heart, then you get the step of the photo, and then the step of the Love You More. So what I'm doing here is, I don't know if you caught this, but I just moved it from being tucked behind the photo mat to being tucked in front of the photo mat, and that just integrates it a little bit better into the design. I also cut a little bit more off the left side because the cuts weren't even there yet. So again, making that card work for me. And I really like how that looks. So I'm just kind of looking around for other things that I can use, and I have these gold bows from the Paper Studio sitting on my desk. think I've only used one of these, and I bought them to use as embellishments for the 2 wedding scrapbook albums I did, and I don't think I used any of them, or maybe just one of them in the 2 albums. So I'm trying to get these used up. I'm going to do it on my own pages if nothing else. And so I'm going to use this one here. Right now it's sitting on top of that Today is the Best card. I'm going to change that in just a second, and there I go. I'm going to add it to the heart there, and that gives this a little bit more dimension. And now I've taken a second one, and I'm going to add that to the Love You More cut apart there. I would have loved to have used the third one, but they're fairly big, and I just think any more of them would have been way too overpowering. So now I am gluing down at least some of what I have down. The one thing that's happening here is that I'm not loving that blank space to the right of the Today is the Best card. It feels very abrupt to me, and there's a lot of space there. So I'm going to work through that and figure out what to do in just a little bit. The cool part about this is these cards are so large that there's not a lot of embellishment needed. You know, the floral print on the back of the paper kind of acts like an embellishment, and then the cards. And so that's one of the reasons this layout was really quick, is a lot of the work was done for me, honestly, which is really awesome. All right, and now I'm just fussing around a little bit to get that heart down with the bow now. And those bows are kind of cool. They're like a gold pleather. I don't know if they still have those at Hobby Lobby, but they're fun. They're fun to pick up, and they're kind of a nice size. They're big, so they make a huge statement on your layout, but they're not crazy big. I just used another bow that was probably 5 inches across, so or just narrated a layout. So now I'm thinking about what else I can do, and I'm looking at trying to change the abruptness of that, and I'm thinking about using this washi tape, and oftentimes when I use this one I leave the white backing on because it becomes kind of hard to see. So I'm going to cut a piece here, and like I said, I'm leaving that backing on because that background is so dark I would really just lose the cut apart, and it still is not satisfying me. It still feels like it's huge stair steps. There's too much space. And then I go back to my cards here, and I see this card that says You and Me, and it has that kind of aqua in here, which doesn't specifically appear anywhere else on the layout, but I think it's a nice foil and contrast to the rest of what's going on here. So I'm just looking, and I'm thinking if I cut this down, then it really is going to be a nice, it'll be a nice addition to this, and kind of a foil to all of the peachy colors that are going on there. All right, and then I don't have to worry about cutting off the bottom because I can just tuck it in. And again, I'm tucking it in between the photo layers. And once I get that down, I really like what happens to this design. Even though I still have sort of a stair step from the right side of the card to the photo to the Love You More, it seems less abrupt to me, and I'm going to do something else to embellish the side of that card to help this out. So I really like the way this ended up, and because it's pictures of my sister and my mom together, the You and Me is very appropriate. All right, now the only thing I need to do is, you know, I'm still thinking about using this. Can I use that piece of washi that I cut off? And I end up not putting that on this layout. It would have been too much at this point. I just need some sort of kind of simple embellishment. So I grab my gold sequins, and I think, well, I can add gold to this. And, you know, I'm thinking about putting them in a couple places. I put them on that card, and I really think that that helps bring in gold without trying to do another another bow. And once I do that, I really like it. There's 3 spots of gold that kind of carry your eye through the layout. They contain, you know, if you make that triangle, they contain the pictures within. And I am going to call this good, which is one of the reasons that this layout took such a short amount of time. So it'll take me a minute to get this on. I usually use glue dots to keep my sequins on. I have used my Scotch Quick Dry, but I find that some of them pop off. So when I use the glue dots, they stick and I don't have to be concerned about it. So that's why I'm using them here. And I have them in lots of different sizes. So all right, I am just about done with this layout. Once I fool around with getting that top sequin on. So at the end of this, there will be a still shot and a couple of detail shots. Hope you're all well, and I will be back with another video again soon. Bye!